Watching Ovechkin, plays it across to Kovalchuk. Kovalchuk in, shoots, scores! Ilya Kovalchuk wins the gold medal for Russia. It's Russia's first World Championship since 1993.
Tough way for Canada to lose, but give that team in red a ton of credit. The guys in the studio were saying it. They were down 4-2 with 20 minutes to go. They reeled it back in to make it 4-4. Kovalchuk, one of the guys that brings all kinds of magic to it, and then he ends the game with a lightning-quick release. You saw him have 3 different opportunities in the third period to tie it up, and on the third one he did. And here he gets one chance in overtime, and it's magic. High to the top of the net, and Vyacheslav Bykov celebrates along with the entire Russian staff. I think these guys don't care. They care just as much as the Canadians players do.
It's been a long time coming for the Russians, and for Canada, it'll be silver on home ice at the 2008 Worlds.
That thing's just launched. And super slow motion doesn't do it any justice, and Rick Nash knows as he's watching Kovalchuk come in, the man that he tied for in the Rocket Richard Trophy race along with Jerome McGinley with 41 goals. Kovalchuk doesn't need a lot of time and space to get it off. He has far more time and space because it's a 4 versus 3, and he ends this thing for Russia, and they go home with gold.
And Ilya Kovalchuk gets kisses on the cheek from Alexander Ovechkin, and you saw the celebration from Sergei Fedorov, playing for his country at the World Championship for the first time since 1990. He defected not long after that and couldn't go home for 4.5 years. And so for the Russians, it's gold. Canada will settle for silver. What a hockey game.
That had everything. And it won't make those guys any happier, but it's been a great tournament for Canada. Ryan Getzlaf, Danny Heatley, Rick Nash, phenomenal this tournament. The young guys that stepped up with the passing of the torch in defense, Duncan Keith, Brent Burns, Danny Hamhuis, Mike Green, phenomenal tournaments for all the young Canadian defenders.
Ilya Kovalchuk, the first player from Russia ever picked first overall in the NHL draft, scores the overtime winner after tying it up late in the third period with less than 6 minutes to go. And Russia, the overtime kings of this tournament, won 2 games in OT and 1 in a shootout. Well, someday Canadian fans will remember that they saw a classic here, just not right now.
Correct.
And Cam Ward takes his first loss as a Canadian goaltender at the World Championship. So we're going to have the player of the game presentation. The officials will get their commemorative medals. And then we'll have the presentation of the tournament MVP, the all-star teams, and of course, the gold medal.
Great future for Mike Green, standing right there. Eric Stahl, Jamel Mayers, Danny Hamhuis, who played flawlessly in this tournament. Jason Spezza, who improved so much. Clearly a bitter pill for Ken Hitchcock and his staff. Craig McTavish of the Edmonton Oilers. Mike Johnston of the LA Kings. There wasn't a lack of will on either side, Gord. And I know, like you said, it's a bitter pill for people in Canada right now to digest. This was one of those special moments in hockey you won't forget.
Vladislav Tretiak will be part of the player of the game presentations.
Ovechkin's not tired from playing. He's tired from celebrating. He's been running around all over, high-fiving everybody.
For years, they had trouble getting their best players to play. Then had trouble getting them to play together. Had trouble finding quality goaltending. Well, they got all of that and more in this World Championship. And now it's time for the presentation of the best players for each team.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, the gold medal ceremonies of the 2008 IIHF World Hockey Championship.
Le joueur du match de chaque équipe recevra une montre Tissot T-Touch de Tissot SA Suisse, commanditaire officiel du championnat mondial 2008 de l'IHF. Les prix seront remis par M. François Thibault, président de Tissot Canada, accompagné du président de la Fédération de hockey de la Russie et légende du hockey, M. Vladislav Tretiak.
The best player of each team will be awarded with a watch from Tissot, official sponsor of the 2008 IIHF World Hockey Championship. The prizes will be presented by Mr. François Thibault, president of Tissot, and by Mr. Vladislav Tretiak, Russian hockey legend and president of the Russian Ice Hockey Federation.
Le joueur du match pour équipe Canada, Team Canada, player of the game is le numéro 8, number 8, Brent Burns.
Burns scored twice for Canada, and he is named the player of the game.
Le joueur de match pour l'équipe Russie, the best player of Team Russia, numéro 42, number 42, Sergei Zinoviev.
Zinoviev's the player of the game for Russia. That might have been voted on before the Ilya Kovalchuk tying and winning goal in overtime.
You see, they watched him play very much today.
Les officiels sur la glace recevront maintenant leur médaille commémorative marquant leur participation au match de la médaille d'or présentée par M. René Fassin, le président.
Time for the officials to receive their commemorative medals. The Canadian fans aren't pleased with them.
Officials will now receive their commemorative medals for the officiating the gold medal game. The on-ice officials medals will be presented by Mr. René Fassin, IIHF president.
And then we'll have the presentation of the trophy and the gold medal to Alexei Morozov first, followed by his Russian teammates. And there he is, Morozov, the 31-year-old native of Moscow, once a first-round pick of Pittsburgh. 7 years in the NHL. He was the top forward last year. Now he's the captain of a world championship team and the owner of a gold medal. There's going to be a party on the Grand Allée tonight like you've never seen.
Yeah. They'll be getting after it over there at Red Square as well. They're probably going off right about now.
Kovalchuk goes over, and they're going to handshake now with the Canadians.
Stay tuned. 2010 is next.
Yeah, wow. Next year's World Championship will take place in Geneva, Switzerland.
Think this is Fedorov's last World Championship, Gordon?
You wonder if this is his last game. He's an unrestricted free agent this summer. He's talked about maybe playing another year. He's lived in North America for 18 years. Where he's going to settle, so the odds of him going back to play in Russia don't seem very good.
While Evgeny Nabokov, Darren Dreger, and Darren Pang talked about it, was he ever good in the first period? You know, you think about how well he played where Canada outshot Russia 15-5 and the score was only 3-1. Could have been a lot greater than that had it not been for Nabokov.
And now time for the Tournament MVP Award. That'll go to Danny Heatley of Canada.
Le joueur par excellence du championnat mondial 2008 de l'IHF.
The most valuable player of the 2008 IIHF World Hockey Championship.
Le numéro 15, number 15 d'équipe Canada, Danny Heatley.
Heatley is the MVP. He sets a Canadian record with 12 goals and 1 World Championship. It's his